Good day, friends. Today I am excited to share with you a tool that I have used to make tens of thousands of dollars net, not just gross. And that tool is a piece of Python code that I wrote without AI. This was before AI was just super easy to use. And you'll see that it's not written by AI because the code is quite janky. This code web scrapes TCG Player and gets the market price, and there's an adjustment you can make to get the minimum price instead of the market, and for every card in a commander deck set. So let me show you, which, by the way, if you appreciate this kind of content, learning tips and tricks on how you can make money with trading cards or updates about the markets and crazy things that go on, like secret layers that come out randomly on a Monday that have nothing valuable in them but sell out anyway, please subscribe. I'm trying to get to 150 subscribers. We're actually quite close. Once we get there, my plan is to work on a website and do live streams where people can buy stuff, or we can just hang out and answer questions and talk and chill. Sounds like a lot of fun to me. It's a lot of fun on Whatnot, but I don't know. Whatnot's a little cringe. You know what I mean? All right. So I love streaming on Whatnot. No shade on Whatnot, but anyways, I'm excited for YouTube. Anyways, besides the point, here is the code. I wrote it from scratch, and I'm excited to share with you. So what it does is it uses TCG Player, and it takes a couple inputs. One of the things you need for it to run right are deck lists, and the deck lists that I use are the ones straight from Wizards of the Coast. So for example, today I adjusted this code to get the numbers for the starter commander decks. These are being reprinted. These are going to drop in price, and I wanted to know at what price can you buy these decks and turn a profit. So step one was to download the deck list from the Wizards of the Coast website, which is right here. You can click on this button, click, and then you get that downloaded deck list. I download all those, and then I save them into a folder that I will then use or show kind of later. But that's one of the inputs. The other thing you need in order for this to run successfully is the URL for in TCG Player. And I guess I got to drag this down a little to show you this URL. There's a name of the set in the URL. So this is the Magic Starter Commander decks. You can get this by going into the... Oh no, this isn't helping. The Starter Commander decks. Oh yeah, here it is. So if you go into the page that looks kind of like this, where it's like the main page for a set, whatever this here is at the end, Starter Commander decks, that is what you need. And that is one of the inputs into the code in order to get it to work. Which, by the way, I'm going to share inside of the description. There's a link to the code. The code will not run in Google Colab, but that's where I'm sharing it, because if I was going to share it on GitHub, I'd want it to look good. And this is kind of dinky. So I'm sharing it in a Colab notebook, but it doesn't work in Colab. What I would recommend is copying and pasting all of this code into ChatGPT, and for free, it will tell you what you need to do on your computer to run it. It'll also probably make it cleaner and better. So that's what I recommend. Anyways, but to run it, you need these deck lists. So for example, at the bottom here, I have starter. You got to learn some Python today. Starter equals, then in brackets, the 5 names of the downloaded files that I have. And I'll show you a little bit later is that you need to kind of point the code towards wherever you save these files. So it could just be in your downloads, or you can make a folder for it. So then in this code, there is some logic to find the names and prices of cards, also to ignore certain things, to ignore basic lands. It's also designed, there's some logic somewhere in the code to try to ignore like surge foil and other kind of modifiers to the cards, you know, because the commander decks don't have etched foil cards and things like that. So I guess if you wanted to use this to look at the prices of the collector commander decks, you need to adjust it. Right now, this is just made for regular commander decks. And then it has, this is the jankiest piece of code right here, which is that it loops through and it tries to find the market price. And by the way, you can switch out this product card market price value. You can switch that out with this inventory price with shipping, and that is the TCG low price. And so you can just like replace it everywhere that it shows, and then it'll grab you the TCG low instead of the market price. So what it does is it loops through all the names inside of your inside the deck lists. It looks them up using the URL, and it saves the price. I have written my code so that it only saves prices that are greater than 45 cents and less than $30. The reason less than $30 is sometimes it'll get this weird, like, it'll just grab something it's not supposed to. This code is not incredible, okay, but I'm going to tell you how I've used it to make a lot of money. Used it along with a lot of work. It doesn't make me money on its own. I'm giving it away for free. Saves it as a CSV. It saves you a CSV. We'll take a look at what that looks like in a minute. It also calculates the kind of total value that you can get. And in this case, it's looking at the cards, multiplies it by 0.8 to get you a value. It gets you a cost, which you're able to give to it as how much does it cost you to buy this commander set? And then it'll tell you like, oh, you made this much money, blah, blah, blah. And you can see that. Do I need to move my smug face? Maybe. So you can see that in the bottom here. Oh, I guess not yet. Oh, what? Come on. Here we go. So you can see that in the bottom here, the bottom right. This is what it prints out when it's done. Starter commander decks, number of sellable cards. There's 104 that are over 45 cents. There's $137 of value after fees. And where I was looking at buying them, it was $100 for the set of 5 decks. And so after shipping and fees and things like that, I estimate I would net at least $27, which is a 25% return, which is good. That is good. So if you can get starter commander decks for $100, I estimate that's going to be good. Let me show you quickly what it looks like when it's running. So I'm just going to kind of copy this code, paste it in here, and hit enter. This is Spider. It's my IDE of choice for doing code. And so now you can see this is slow. This will now go page by page and look up the cards, grab the price, and save it for every single card. There's a lot of improvements that could be made to this code. For example, it could save this file and then in the future only check on the cards that are above 25 cents. Assume that the cards that are less than 25 cents are still less than 25 cents, which generally is true. And that would make the code a lot faster to not be re-looking up the 8-cent cards over and over again. But anyways, lots of potential improvements. But for me, this gets me what I need, which is a spreadsheet that looks kind of like this. And this is pretty cool. This is the list of all the cards that it grabbed. Now, looking at this list is kind of important because sometimes there's issues. For example, Soul Shatter. Is Soul Shatter a $10 card? I don't know. Let's go check. Soul Shatter. No. Why is it saying it's a $10 card? Well, you see here, this market price for the starter commander decks, says it's a $9.75 card. So the code is working as it's supposed to, but for this case in particular, I might need to use the TCG low price to make it more accurate. So already causing some doubts on how accurate this is. Another one, Nile Spellbomb for $6. Is that true? And I already have that pulled up in a tab. Once again, the market price for the starter commander decks Nile Spellbomb is $6, but the TCG low is $1.50. And when you go in here, there's plenty that are selling for $1, $2, $3. So that price is probably not very realistic, that market price. Not sure how that market price happened. Yeah, very confusing. But anyways, weirdness with TCG Player and their prices and fees and whatever. But yep, so the code's still going. I'll probably stop it just because, well, guess no reason to stop it. So anyways, here at the bottom, you can see in my code, is that I have these lines for each of the commander deck sets that I want to look up. So I have one for the starter decks, commander starter decks. I have a line for the Lord of the Rings decks that if you buy them for $250, can you net a profit? The answer is yes, which is quite wild. Do I don't have the text anymore that showed that, but don't quote me on that. I would want to double check that. I guess I can check it inside of this CSV. Stand by. I think this would be interesting to realize how valuable the Lord of the Rings commander deck sets are. So let's look at these prices. Oh, is Raise the Palisade really a $16 card? That would be wild if true. It is. Holy moly. I guess it kind of makes sense. So something to look out for. So I think, all right, let's add this up. All the cards above whatever 5 cents. Yep. $300. Multiply that by 0.8, 315. Yeah. So you can, and this isn't including the collector sample packs. I mean, now these are being reprinted and there's a risk with anything being reprinted. We'll get back to the code, but real quick, anything being reprinted, the price will fall. Whoop-de-doo. So, you can buy these being like, oh, I'm definitely going to turn a huge profit on them. But if you buy when the price of the sealed product hasn't fallen, and then the price of the product, the singles falls, then you might get in trouble. But pretty cool that Lord of the Rings commander deck sets have so much value in them, have aged so well. Definitely a cool thing to pick up. All right, we're back at the code. What else? So yeah, I've got some blocks here for Edge of Eternities and Bloomburrow and Tarkir Dragonstorm, but with all this, you can adjust it. You can add whatever commander deck sets you'd like, and it will get you the expected value based on either market or the minimum price. Very, very cool. Let me show you the collab, because this is what you'll see when you open up the link, is you'll see this. And this is just the raw code. Like I said, it will not run in here for a couple reasons. It won't run in here because it's built for Windows, this code. It also won't run in here because you don't have the files downloaded yet. You can download the files, but you need to get the files in here. And anyways, this code just isn't made to work inside of Colab. But if you get, if you download VS Code and put this on here, you download the packages, you change the directory to a folder on your computer, and yeah, you should be able to run this. It should work. So pretty cool stuff. Like I said, I've used this code to make lots of money because, for example, how much are the Lord of the Rings commander deck sets right now in TCG Player? Yeah, so you can buy the full set for less than $250. So, assuming the singles don't just like tank in value, there's a lot of potential here for resale, which is really interesting, actually. Might need to buy some of these. Anyways, what was I saying? Yep. Thanks for watching. If you haven't subscribed yet, please subscribe. If you have any questions, leave them below. I'm not that interested in making this code perfect. It works for me. It's dinky, but it gets the job done. I know that there's a lot wrong with it, and feel free to comment the things that you're like, oh, this is ridiculous. The code should be better. Go for it. But yeah, I am happy to answer questions. If you're like, oh, I'm really struggling to get this to work, there's this, that. First, you should probably ask an AI. But, if I've got time, I'll totally reply. So good times, y'all. Good times. Thanks for tuning in. We'll see you.